Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Game-Based Learning in the World Language Classroom. The why, the what, and the how. We're still in the why. I'm Madame Sensei. I teach Spanish, French, and Japanese to high schoolers out here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. I can be reached at studio-nemo.com, Minecraft Education Ambassadors, or the Minecraft Teachers Lounge, or the Duolingo Educators Network. I love to bounce ideas off of people. We're still talking about the Hattie effect sizes. There are a lot, and they do make you really impressive as a teacher for knowing them and for knowing when you're using them in the classroom. So make sure you talk about this in your yearly evaluations. And I'm going to keep explaining to you how game-based learning helps us hit all the high leverage Hattie effect sizes. Repeated reading programs. This has a Hattie effect size of 0.75. TPRS, Teaching Proficiency Through Reading and Storytelling, it feels like a game. It's got a very Mad Libs-like quality. I like to project my words on the smartboard so that students get the scaffolding of seeing them in print. I know a lot of people don't do that. They just call students up and just talk at them. But this way the students get to see the spelling as well as hear the words. And then I also give extra scaffolding of the pictures. Okay, so like here I've got a stack of clothing words, and then as students, as we're circling the words, we're looking at it, and then students choose the word that they want from that, or they might shout out something else. But eventually, when the story is complete, all the blanks are filled in. You can print out the story for inclusion in your classroom library. But what I really like to do is I remove some words in each sentence and I make a crossword puzzle. And so the clues for the crossword puzzle, instead of being what is automobile in Spanish, it has the line from the story, because repetition is the key to success, right? So it's the exact line from the story with a word missing, and if the students have been playing TPRS well, then they can fill this in rather quickly. They're filling in those words, which is really fun, and I get that extra repetition. Sometimes I just print out the story and I cut the story into strips, and I'll just plop the strips down onto each table group, and I have the students put the strips back in order, so they have to put the story in order. But I'll be talking about a lot of these games in chapter 18 of my book. I don't know when we're getting to it in the video series, because it's taken me a while to work through the Hattie effect sizes, right? Teacher clarity. This has a Hattie effect size of 0.75. It's hard to play a game if you don't understand the rules. Teacher clarity is an absolute must. Before, during, after the game, make sure to tell your students why you chose this game and keep telling them why you chose the game. What skills are they working on? Why is this important? Why is this game important? How does the game help you work on the skills? That gives students plenty of teacher clarity. Because don't you hate it when the students are like, well, why are we doing this? No, your students know why you're doing it. You've told them 100 million times. Keep telling them. Elaboration and organization has a Hattie effect size of 0.75. Okay, so to play a game, both you and the students have to be organized if you're going to play the game successfully. For you, can you pass out all the pieces quickly and efficiently? Do you have the scaffolds ready to go? What's your backup plan if the game goes south or just not what the students need right now? Have you explained the rules? Are the students ready to actually apply the skill that you're teaching? Do you need a baby game first, an easier version of the game that you want to play so that the students can have that scaffolding to get ready for the big game or the big project that you want to do with them? Are students ready to move on to a more complex game and this one's too easy for them? For the students, do they have their cheat sheets out? Are you allowing them to have their cheat sheet out? Do they know which posters to look at in the classroom for support? Do they know where on the cheat sheet or on the board that one word that they always trip up on is located? Are they distracted by the lure of their cell phone? Are they organized inside their head, or is the information all a jumble and there's simply too much cognitive demand at the moment for them? So let me give you an example of this. So one year we were playing the Clue-O Lingo that I made with the on the Duolingo Educators Network. And I just started playing Clue with my first year students. And I was working the room and I realized, oh no, they weren't really ready for this. I thought they were, but they weren't. Too many students are sitting passively waiting their turn, and I hate that. I absolutely hate that. I want maximum amount of conversation going on. So, immediately I had to change the game on the fly. I got up in the front of the class and announced, "Hey guys, today when you make an accusation, anybody at the table who has the card has to fess up." Okay, so as the days went by, we could go back to more normal Clue rules. We could first go to the first person on your right has to fess up, and if they don't have the card, then the next person on your right has to fess up until we could eventually play a normal game. That would have been really hard to pivot to the easier version if I hadn't thought about it beforehand. What am I going to do if too many students are sitting there passively waiting their turn? Okay, I was ready to jump in and say, hey guys, these are the new rules. We're going to play with the baby rules first. I didn't call them baby rules, but the organization, the preparation is so important so that you're ready to pivot on the fly. That being said, there's a ton of organization that I do up front so that I can pivot during class at the drop of a hat. Okay, do I need to do stations today? Students are like, they really need to work on these basic skills. I think we need to do stations. Well, it's a good thing I already cut out all the cards for 10 stations from this unit many, many, many years ago. Now I just need to grab a folder for weather expressions. I need to grab one die. I need to grab a stack of scratch paper. Oh, here's my Scrabble game. Where did I put that fidget spinner that I saved for stations? Oh, yeah, it's in this drawer. Okay, here you go, class. We're doing stations now because you need more practice on weather expressions. I just realized. Okay, so grab a partner and hit all 10 stations. And it's only because I've done all the heavy lifting, all the prep work beforehand. I'll talk about stations more in a later episode. Evaluation and reflection, that's the Hattie effect size, 0.75. Do not let a day go by where you do not reflect, both you and your students. Okay? As I was developing games, the first time I adapted the guided language acquisition development techniques, GLAD techniques, I told my students there was going to be a test, and they were all getting nervous. They're like, a test? What kind of test is she going to give us? Well, imagine their surprise when I passed out the paper test, and it was a test for me, evaluating me and my games. So students got to write whatever they wanted about which games helped them, which games are most engaging, which games I should skip when I continue tweaking the techniques for next time. So, like, here was part of the test. And they've got really into this. Okay, here's just some of my feedback. They were coloring in the bars. They wrote me long little, I probably should have given more space here for them to write what they liked about the games, what they didn't like about the games, whether or not I should use it, their ideas for tweaking it. It was great. Students need to reflect too. A lot of this happens naturally as they relive the greatest moments of the game. They're going to be saying, oh, did you see that? I can't believe I guessed the answer on the second try. Some of this is going to be more formal. If you have an exit ticket to ask the students how confident they are, what they're still struggling with, what's their plan to dominate the game next time, etc., etc., etc. In our next episode, more Hattie effect sizes. We're almost done, I promise, but these are really important to look at. This is really going to help you get more, I keep saying bang for the buck. That's what it is, more bang for the buck in your class time. So hope to see you there.